So in case you haven't heard the news by now, everybody's talking about it. PlayStation is no longer going to be at E3 2019. This means that we're not only not going to get a press conference, but we're also not going to get a PlayStation booth that is normally within the West Hall. This is a very big deal because PlayStation has always gone to the Electronic Entertainment Expo. Ever since there's been an E3, PlayStation has had a presence at it. And this is indicative of a couple different things that have been going on slowly for a good number of years, ever since I've been first going to the show, as well as a bunch of others who have actually gone to almost every single E3 there is. E3 as a show is changing. There's a lot of things that just aren't the same as it once was back in the day when the video game industry was really kind of just getting its first big kickstart. Even though E3 as a show still is very important to the eyes of gamers like myself and many others, it doesn't have the same type of impact with a lot of the big companies that are involved with the games industry as it once did many years ago. It was a big deal when Nintendo decided not to have their traditional press conference at E3 that they normally always did alongside the other two of the big three, but they still had a booth there in order to display some of the latest Nintendo games that were coming out, as well as other events that were off-site in order to still have a presence at E3. But with one of the big three leaving the show completely, giving us no press conference and no booth, this really kind of starts to sound a death toll for E3 as a show. A lot of people have been saying this for years, but I feel like this is the first real big concrete piece of evidence that's showing everybody that E3 as a show is not only changing for the worse in some people's eyes, but also showing how irrelevant it is compared to a lot of shows out there. The other thing also that we have to keep in mind is that these big companies like PlayStation, Microsoft, and Nintendo have the ability to go away from E3 and still have a big significant impact in the minds of gamers and the gaming industry as a whole when it comes to news and kind of big reveals that they would normally show at a show like E3. With PlayStation's case, they have PSX, the PlayStation Experience, which in of itself is an entire big PlayStation show that still has the spectacle of an E3, even though it doesn't have that big significant impact that it once did back in the day, but it still is all PlayStation, where they don't have to share the spotlight with either Microsoft or Nintendo or any other third parties that are out there unless they decide to do so. On top of that, you have all those big PlayStation fans that are out there that are so crazy enough to go to just about every show that PlayStation is going to be at. They would go to something like PSX just to get their PlayStation news and not have to bother with any of the other brands. And you could argue the same thing about Microsoft with the Xbox One and the Xbox brand. They just had their XO event not too long ago down in Mexico, and I feel like that could also turn into a similar situation with PSX and PlayStation, but just for Microsoft and the Xbox One. I feel like a lot of different Xbox fans were really kind of clamoring for something very similar in that way. And don't be surprised also if Nintendo follows suit at some point. Again, they're able to hold their own events, they're able to kind of do their own live streams with the Nintendo Directs and other stuff kind of like this. So what is the real need for E3? Even though someone like me loves going to E3 and I love seeing all the big reveals from all the companies that attend, I don't feel like E3 as a show could sustain itself with just third-party publishers. Imagine if E3 was nothing but third-party publishers. All your favorite third-party games were still going to be there and have a presence and be able to show the latest demos and trailers and such, but imagine no big Nintendo, no PlayStation, no Microsoft there, and it was just all third-party publishers, including Capcom, Square Enix, and a whole bunch of other both Western and Japanese developers. It would still be a hell of a show, but it wouldn't really be E3. A lot of the magic and the charm of E3 usually came from the big three companies, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. And it was always about whether they were going to show new hardware, whether they were going to show some of the latest first-party games, or see what other partnerships they were going to do with some of the third-party publishers that were there. That was really part of the surprises and a lot of the magic and charm of being at the show, because that was the place where you were going to be able to see stuff like that. Because of all these changes and because a lot of the big things that have been happening over the last couple of years since I've been going to the show, I feel like we're really losing that now these days. I'm pretty sure that E3 2019 is still going to be a hell of a show. There's still going to be a lot of people there, both from the games industry and the gaming public. You're going to have 2 out of the 3 big companies still attending and having booths there. But it is definitely not going to be the same type of show that we're accustomed to seeing throughout the years. E3 is really changing, probably for the worse, and I have a strong feeling that within the next couple of years, E3 will be completely unrecognizable. But that's just my opinion on the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below about E3 as a show, how the show has been changing over the years, or any of the other big things related to this news about Sony not being at E3 2019. A lot of people I saw on social media had a lot of big opinions about this. Some people were shocked, some people weren't surprised. Some people were like, oh, I guess PSX is going to be real lit now next year. I mean, that is some kind of truth to it, and I can't wait to go out there. But really, there's a lot of different kind of like divisive opinions about this. But regardless of where you stand on it, put it in the comment section down below. Again, I'm curious to see where you guys actually kind of have your perspective about it. And also tell me if you actually want to see companies like Nintendo or Microsoft spin off of E3 into their own shows, even though Microsoft kind of already does that. Outside of that, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for all my videos just like this vlog and all my reviews and all my podcasts and all the other great content I got for you guys right here on this YouTube channel. And don't forget, guys, I'm on Patreon. I want to give a big shout out to Jasmine Russell for supporting me at the Beast tier level on my Patreon page. You're getting shout outs for the entire month. I really appreciate your support. If you guys want that same type of love, and if you want a bunch of exclusive content, check the links in the description box below. It goes directly to my Patreon page. Hopefully you guys can pledge on any of the levels there and show some love. Anyway, I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.